All right, what's up, guys? It is a absolutely beautiful day out today, and yeah, I'm at my parents' house, kind of just hanging out, and I figured I would do a video. It's going to be a different style video today. I'm not going to do any edits, anything like that. I want to do this all on one take, of just a complete one take. That's my goal. Hopefully I don't mess it up. Hopefully this comes out okay. But with that in mind, I kind of want to give you guys my impression. Since I'm at my parents' house right now, I've been thinking about, in my 27 years of life, all the different cars that I've owned, like all the different cars I've had here at my parents' house, kind of like brought here, and I don't know. So I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts. What was the best overall daily driver car that I had? So this isn't dealing with performance or anything like that, or like value, but just like overall a good daily driver, which was, it got decent fuel economy, it was comfortable, it's something that, just reliable, and it was just overall a really good, car. So yeah, I want to give you guys my impressions of that. And yeah, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but even with that in mind though, I'm just, even as I'm walking up looking at my own car right now, my Jeep Wrangler, God, I still love this car so much. It's such a cool car to have. But yeah, I don't know. But before we jump into the video, I do want to ask you guys a quick favor. If you guys are watching the videos and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I don't want to be like one of those people, that very cliche YouTuber thing, when they're just like, please subscribe, only if you actually enjoy the videos, consider subscribing. It does help out a lot. But anyways, with that in mind, let's jump right into the video. So the first vehicle that I owned, which I think I was a freshman in college, or I was a sophomore in college. It was either my last semester as a freshman or my first semester as a sophomore in college. My parents, they bought it was a 1996 Chevy Lumina. And man, oh man, oh man, that was my first car. I knew nothing about cars, really. I was just like, it's a car. I'm just happy about it. I mean, because at that point in time, my sister, she had a car. She had a brand new, it was a Chevy Cobalt, which I did videos about before in the past, and she still has that car. That's a funny story. But so I was driving. I would drive her car. We went to the same college, so sometimes I would drive her car. I also drove my parents' cars and stuff like that, but I didn't have my own car. I didn't really I wasn't interested in cars really as I am today. So that was my first car. It was brown. That was a decent car. I mean, for me to kind of learn putting gas in your car and getting the oil changed, making sure it was okay. So yeah, so I had that car for I think about a year and a half. It did have some problems. Granted, it was a 96. And I think I had it in I don't know, 2000 and maybe 10, 11, something like that. I had it for a year and a half. Yeah, I remember it was down actually for a while. The power steering pump kept going out on it. I remember one time it went out. I didn't replace it or anything for a while. And it killed the battery eventually. It killed the alternator, I believe it was. And then the car went down, so I had to get that fixed. And then there was a whole bunch of other issues that came up where that car was down for a while. To get it to pass inspection, it needed new tires. It needed work with, it was the electrical system, I think, with the blinkers and everything like that. That car was, later on in its life, it showed its age. I mean, it was an old car, it was my first car. Was it comfortable? For what it was, it actually was very comfortable. How well did it get on gas? I mean, back then I didn't really care. I mean, I still don't care about gas mileage, but I think on average I was putting in maybe, who knows, I don't even know, but it was probably getting around maybe 20 miles to the gallon, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. That was an interesting car. I did enjoy it. I did like it, but yeah, I don't know. It was just my first car. After that, I got a 2000 Mitsubishi Eclipse. That was when I first was like, oh, okay, I want to get another car, and I want to get something that's cool, stereotypically cool. At the point in time, I was looking for a truck, and there was no trucks for the price range. I was looking for something under $2,000. There were no trucks really in that price range that I could afford that were, decent cars. So I was looking between that and a Mustang. It was a Mustang GT, I think a 2000. But I found that Mitsubishi Eclipse on Craigslist. I went like way out. I wanted my dad to go with me, but I forgot he was doing something. So he just told me to say, okay, go out, check out the car. If you like it, I'll come back with you, later in the day, and we'll go check it out. So I went, checked out the car. That car had like 180,000 miles on it. The dude was selling it for like $1,800. Because the dude, he bought just like a newer. It wasn't a newer. He bought another Mitsubishi Eclipse. He bought the V6 version. And yeah, he was just like, yeah, I wanted to. He actually did really like that car, and he just bought like a V6 version. I think it was like a year newer, and I don't know, he was gonna part it out, the car that I was gonna buy, because it had a whole bunch of stuff on it, but it just had so many miles on it. But he was like, no, I mean, I think the car, it was still like a good car. And he was like, I was gonna part out all the parts, but it's a good solid car. You can keep it all as one. So when I saw it, I was like, this thing's so cool. I like it, and I don't know, I just kind of just fell for it. And like secretly, honestly, that was like my first dive into cars, like when I really started liking them. And yeah, I don't know, even to this day, I still think I'm gonna probably buy another one, even though they're not cool, especially that year or that generation of Eclipses. They weren't all that cool. But yeah, I don't know though. I don't know. They're still kind of cool. That car as a daily driver, for the time, it was a big step up from the Lumina, which I actually gave to my older sister at the time. Yeah, I gave her my old car, and I was like, oh, cool, I'm getting this newer one. And that was my first car where I was like, I bought with my own money. It was on my own insurance. I paid for everything with it, and I felt like so cool about that. Yeah, as a daily driver at the time, it was a big step up from the Lumina. Me and my girlfriend at the time, it was so cool. I had a sunroof. I had like power locks. I had like a cool radio inside of it. Had like a carbon fiber hood. At the time, it was such a big step up. I got like LED lights put inside of it. I thought it was so cool. Yeah, I don't know. That was such a big step up, and I really liked that car a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Even thinking about it now, I'm like, man, that was a cool car. Even though I know it's kind of like ricey, but I mean, whatever. It was a fun scooting around town car. Yeah, and I didn't really need the room or anything like that. I was still in college, which was just me and my girlfriend. Occasionally I would pick up, have people in like the back, but yeah, I don't know. It was a cool car. So yeah. That was that car. And then after that, that's when unfortunately, did that car have any problems? Honestly, not really. Even with that being such a high mileage car, like when I got done with it, I had that car for maybe like 2 years. When I got done with that car, it had like 220,000 miles on it. I think I bought it like 190. It was close to 2,000, so I put a lot of miles on that car, which is so strange. I don't know how I did in college, but yeah, so that car, I had it for a while. It didn't give me any problems until it started getting up there in the miles. And then, yeah, eventually the transmission, that's what was going out. It wouldn't shift into the proper gears. And because I think that's when I was first learning, like, I was like, oh, it had that, like, the mode you can put in, like, you can actually change the gears and stuff like that. I put it in that like a lot, and like I didn't really know what I was doing. I think that attributed to it starting to slip. The transmission started to slip, and the transmission, when I put it from drive to reverse, it would clunk like super hard, like poof, poof, and it would, I don't know. Eventually, that car was just dying on me. Yeah. And then eventually, yeah, that car had some problems, and someone actually broke into it and they stole some stuff out of it. It was a sad story of how that car kind of wound up. And then I wind up selling it to someone. Actually, so weird. I put it on Craigslist, but it was someone from my parents' church. They bought it, which I didn't like. They didn't know it was me. I didn't know it was them. I was like, oh, is this some dude? I sold the car for like $600. And then I think he crashed it like 2 weeks later. So that car had a sad ending, but it was still a fun car. But anyway, so then after that, I bought my 2009 Mazda 6. That car was great. I knew like after the Mazda, I really wanted something that was kind of cool, kind of sporty. I was actually looking at like the Mazda 6s, but like the previous year or the previous version to that car. Sort of like it'd be like a Speed 6 or like the Speed 3, but there was a Speed 6 version of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that there is. And I think that's what I was trying to look for. I was looking for that, or like a Pontiac G6. I don't know. I wanted something that was sporty, that was cool. But I needed to buy a car. I needed to find a car like relatively quickly, because at this point in time, I was still in college, but I was working a full-time job, and I was like, I need to find a car. I need to just get a car, because I need to go to work and everything like that. I can't, be messing around. So I went out to this one place, which my ex-girlfriend at the time, she bought her car from, and she said they were really cool. So I went out there with my dad. Well, first I tried to find a Mazda 6, but I couldn't really find one, the previous version. So I went to this other place, and they had, my year version, the 2009 Mazda 6. I test drove that, and honestly, that car it was miles and just steps above the Eclipse. It was such a big jump up in performance, not really performance, but luxury, and just how nice it was. It was so much nicer. The cream interior, it was blue. It was just really had everything that I could ever want. It had power locks, push start, keyless entry, really cool like touchscreen and everything like that. So yeah, I bought that car next, and yeah, I don't know. I had that car for like 2 years, I believe. Yeah, actually, I had that car even until I met my fiance now. I had that car. I did a lot of stuff to it. I didn't do any performance stuff. I did like, small little mods. Like I thought it was so cool. I blacked out the wheels. I got a roof rack on. I tinted the windows. I changed my license plate to the side to make it look more JDM. Yeah, I don't know. That car was that car was totally cool. And then after that, when I sold that car, that's when I bought. Yes. After that, I bought my first Jeep Wrangler Unlimited, which I talked about before on my channel, so I won't dive super into that. It's a 2007 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sport. That was a two-wheel drive version as well as the ones I have now. That car had so many problems from the right when I bought it that the dealership bought it back for me. They did a buyback situation. So then after that, I picked up. It was a 2013. What is it? The Hyundai Veloster, the non-turbo, the NA version, which, surprisingly enough, that's one of my most viewed videos on my channel. I did 5 things I hate about this car. It was basically all the things were okay, I should have got the turbo. That car was cool. It was really small and really cramped. I thought for what you were getting, how much you paid for it, you got a lot of features though. Those Hyundais, the value drops so fast. Your depreciation value is so fast that I don't know. I would never buy one new, but buying one used, I mean, it was okay. It wasn't that bad. I thought it was really cool. I had a touch. I mean, had a nice radio. It was a dual clutch automatic. Had a nice sunroof. It had a lot of features, and it was really cool. My only thing about that car is that I just wasn't feeling it, and I don't know why. I just didn't really like it, and it's partially because I really had my heart set out to buy the Jeep, and then when that didn't work out, I was like, okay, let me get something more practical, with better on fuel economy, something that's it looks kind of cool. So yeah, and I jumped into the little Veloster. But I think after having owned the Mazda 6 and then going to the Veloster, it felt like a downgrade in a slight way. Even though it had newer features and it was a little bit newer, it didn't sit right with me. Those cars are cool though. Honestly though, if you're thinking about getting a hot hatch, something that's, if you don't want it to be the fastest thing in the world, but something that's kind of cool, look at the Veloster turbos. I mean, the price, they've dropped so much, and if you're not going to be tracking it and you just want it as a daily driver, honestly, you should really look at those. But yeah, so had that car. After that, that's when I bought my Camaro RS. The 6-speed manual, the V6, and that car was so cool. When I got that car, I swear I thought it was the coolest thing. I thought I was the coolest dude in the world. Yeah, that car was cool. That car was great, which I've done a ton of videos on my channel, so I won't dive super big into that. Yeah, I really liked that car a lot. As far as features goes, it's pretty bare bones. No keyless entry, nothing like that. Obviously, no remote start. It was a manual. The radio was just a stock GM radio. I had that car for a while. I think the biggest drawback with that, just like with the Eclipse, is that I needed more room. And I was realizing, that's what I kind of realized. I was like, okay, I really can't carry that many people with me. I need a little bit more room for the back. And it was kind of cramped. It was a cool car though. It really was. As far as like performance cars goes, that was obviously, that would beat everything else out that I've ever owned. But yeah, that car was just kind of interesting. And then after that, you guys pretty much know the story if you're a subscriber. After I had that, I bought my current car now, which is my 2010 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Sport, 2-wheel drive, unfortunately, but it's still a Jeep Wrangler and I still love it though. Yeah, so that's kind of my history of all the cars that I've owned and what were my thought processes and where I was in life when I bought them. But with that in mind, the best daily driver car by far I would probably say was the Mazda 6, the 2009. And I'll say because that car had all the features that I wanted. It keyless entry, push start, didn't have a sunroof, which if it had a sunroof, that car would have been amazing. It got decent fuel economy. I think the fuel economy was like 20 something miles per gallon, which sometimes I would get like 17, which I don't know why. But yeah, that car was cool. In the snow, sometimes I would get stuck. It's only because it was a front wheel drive, like a normal car. I'll basically be pushing snow. But I will say though, like sometimes whenever it was like super deep, like snow, that car, it was really weird. It was kind of weird. If you got like a running start, like a kind of a start, I would just plow through the snow. It was just like, obviously, you know, like stop from a dead stop. You know, it's gonna stop pretty much any car if it's super deep. But I was able to like plow through. I remember the one day I was coming to my parents' house and it was like our street wasn't plowed and like the other street wasn't plowed, and I just was like, I didn't want to take the main road because that wasn't plowed and like cars were like all backed up. And I was just like, I'm gonna go on these back roads. And I mean, I like looked at it. I was like, if I get stuck, there's nothing I can do. I'm gonna have to get out my car and walk or try to push my car. It was just me, and I don't know. I was able to do it. I just said, screw it, let's just go. And I just plowed right through all that snow. I was surprised, and I've been driving in snow for like my entire life. So if I'm surprised about that, then you know something, you know, it meant something. But I don't know. So I guess all this roundabout way, which I'm trying to finish this video up because I realize it's going on 17 minutes. But with all that stuff in mind, by far the Mazda 6 was my best daily driver car. It was comfortable. It was affordable. I bought the car for like, I think like $9,000. It was comfortable, it was affordable, it had all the features that I wanted, and overall, looking back, that's, you know, pretty much all that you would need. I think probably for like a close second, I would probably say the Hyundai Veloster, if you didn't really need like backseat room, which it did have the third door, and people could fit back there. It was a 4-seater. There wasn't like a middle seat, but if you really had to, you could put someone there. They wouldn't have a seatbelt, but so as far like a straight daily driver, that car got good fuel economy, the Veloster as well. So yeah, so that, I guess those two would probably be my best like daily drivers if you guys were thinking about something. And then obviously after that, I would probably place the Jeep Wrangler, which the Jeep Wrangler to me though, it's still worth it, even though the fuel economy is worse and I don't have all the features and stuff like that. But taking off the roof, taking off the doors, you know, you can't really beat that. But anyways, so with all that in mind, that was my best daily driver car. Let me know, guys, in the comment section below, what was your best, or what do you think was your best daily driver, like just purely a daily driver car that you would love to have, that you've probably owned before. You know, like what was your best